We'd like to begin this podcast by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Talking Couch Potatoes is sponsored by Sprinkles and Sprouts, delicious food made with grocery store ingredients. Visit sprinklesandsprouts.com. Maleficent.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Feeling all right? I'm all right. How are you? How are you? Because I ask for a reason.
I knew that was coming straight up.
Yeah. So,
I have a sore knee.
do you?
Yes. Yes.
We'll talk about that. Episode 68. Welcome back, everyone. How are you doing? We've got a good one today. I'm not going to tell you about it. You just have to listen to me and Mel have a chat first.
That's right.
Yeah. So what I was referring to, Mel, we had a little catch-up at the Brewdog. Shout out to all the people who turned up.
Yes.
It was really lovely, wasn't it?
It was great. Our volunteers came, and because it's not often we just get together that there isn't some kind of advocacy involved, like if it's an event or something going on.
Yeah.
But this was just about us getting together as a group of people and our doggies.
Yeah, and just hanging out.
Yeah.
No sort of work task
That's
to
right.
complete. Just have a couple of bevies, hang
Yeah.
out. A bit of a memoriam as well,
Yeah.
given so many of the beautiful houndies of...
Across the bridge.
and shout out to Alan recently, and
Yep.
obviously you, Mel, and you know, I lost my princess. And
that's right. And Taryn that lost Cleo just days before.
yeah. And way too many also, Mel, to... I know this is one of the drums that you beat a lot. Way too many to osteosarcoma as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't think we have even touched on the prevalence of that in the breed. And my question is, if it is known to be in the breed, which because it's a large breed, understandably, but then that is to me another reason why we should not be breeding them purely for racing.
Yeah.
Surely there is a duty of care that our government has to be breeding dogs that are known to have something like that within them.
To broaden the gene pool, so to speak,
Just
or
to stop it altogether.
I just like I just like the question answered. Is the prevalence like statistically way off the norm, and can we say that then that's related to the breeding practices? Just to even explore the question would be worthwhile.
The breeding practices and also the injuries, because is it the wear and tear as well? There isn't actual any evidence either way.
Yeah.
Just say there's a lot of speculation, but let's do the studies.
There's a lot of anecdotals, though, because a friend at work just lost her greyhound again, much younger than normal, to osteosarcoma. And she was asking me, is this normal? And I said, well, I wish I could answer that. It seems to me like it's not normal. Like way too many greyhounds are dying of cancer.
Yep.
But it'd be good to look into it.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, we went out for a bit of a boogie after. Didn't we, Mel? I've never seen Mel without a laptop or a pen or on the phone to some mover and shaker in the greyhound world. The only thing that was moving and shaking was Mel's butt on... and Deb was out there and
Nina.
Nina.
Yep.
Tell you what, they can shake the floor up, mate.
I know.
Yeah,
it was good fun. It was certainly required at that point. But yeah, hence my knee. And thank God I didn't have a headache. No, but I had a really sore knee.
Yeah, because you held yourself well. You drank in moderation, which was, you know...
No, I
Good
didn't.
to see that. It's good to see you.
But I behaved. We
no.
were just dancing, which
No, it
was
was very
good
nice.
for the soul.
Yeah, like I said, Mel gets 5 hours sleep a week. So it's good
If I'm lucky.
Yeah. No, it was really lovely.
No, it was good fun.
I had a ball. What a great bunch of people Free the Hounds mob are too, the volleys and all that.
Lovely.
And big shout out to the Brewdog, by the way.
Great.
Very
really lovely
dog friendly.
people. Yeah.
Something else that we love to talk about. We need dogs to be fostered, adopted ideally. But if you got a bit of time just to do some fostering,
That's right.
we get fosters of the fortnight. I'd like to hear some updates because we've talked about Huey, haven't we?
That's
Mel?
right. Huey's still in foster.
Oh, Huey.
Yeah.
Toby. How's
Toby
he?
is actually on what is known as a cooling off period. So he's found his forever home and they're just making sure that everything's working honky-dory.
Awesome.
So he's soon to be adopted, which is awesome news.
Well, if Toby's family's listening, I hope you are. Thank you.
Yeah, go you.
Thank you.
Legends.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Welcome to the
I
cult.
hope Toby will... I'll see you at the next Brewdog. Fidel, he's struggling a bit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still in foster, which amazes me because he came to my house and he's the most beautiful boy. He's so sweet and he wants to be loved.
Do you think it's because of his socialist leanings?
Yeah, with the name like
some
Fidel.
people-
I said it was his cigar smoking inside. He's like,
But he'll quit. I think he'll quit.
I think he will for the ride home. But Sandy got adopted.
Stranded at a drive-in.
No longer.
That's awesome.
Yep. But as Matthew said, Greyhound Adoptions WA are in dire need of foster carers. It's really important that these dogs go into foster care so that they can transition more quickly into home life, because at the moment there is actually 2 dogs that are with GAWA, Greyhound Adoptions WA, that are actually in boarding. That's Chopper and Des.
What does that mean?
They're in kennels, so they're in commercial boarding kennels.
And they don't like doing that, do
No,
they? Like,
no,
Gawa doesn't like doing it.
Absolutely
the dogs
not.
don't want to do it, do they?
No, 100%. It's because there is lack of foster carers out there at the moment.
Is that rare for Gawa to get to the point where they start boarding? Is that indicative of just
how many there are, I believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Chopper and Des. Chopper he's a big, strong boy, but lovely, or both of them are actually big, strong dogs, but still gorgeous boys. Des walks really well on lead. A friend of Free the Hounds has taken him walking and he's just lovely. He's 6 and he's a surrender, so he has been in a home before, and Des is 3. So... Okay. And then there is Helena. She is a black and white cowhound. She's 3.5 years old, and she's living with also a friend of Free the Hounds and their little boy Speedy. So she's another one that's still looking for a home.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's plenty of greyhounds out there that need homes.
And they're all very unique, very different, but they're all just adorable in their own way, aren't they? You've had a number of hounds. I've had a couple of hounds now, and completely different but completely adorable. You can't go wrong. You're not going to go, oh, I think I made a mistake in getting a greyhound. You're going to go, I think I made a mistake in joining a cult. That's probably the worst case.
Or I think it's a mistake just having one. I need 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. But, yeah, please, if you can open your house and your heart to a greyhound.
How do they do it, Mel? If people are listening to this thinking, what do I do next?
The best thing to do is just to go to the Greyhound Adoptions WA website and look for the contact details there, because it's dependent on whether you live north or south of the river who you reach out to. So,
and for those who've just started listening, their wraparound support is off the charts. They'll support you if you have any dramas. You can foster and then say, sorry, this isn't working out, and they'll step right in. Yep. So you got nothing to lose.
That's right.
And the costs are ridiculously low. Compared to, say, importing some little purebred breed. That mob, they fly them in from Sydney because they've got, you know,
the designer doggies.
Whatever the designer doggies.
Not that there's wrong with the dogs. That there's
nothing wrong with the dogs.
It's the people that decide to
spend
do that.
Thousands of dollars when you've got a 10,000-year-old pure breed. Right with us in WA who need homes. Yeah. So come on, do better. Mel,
is that your final word? Do better.
I just think once you experience them, you just realise what are we doing with these other designer dogs? I mean, look after every dog. If you've got a designer dog, look after it, give it love. I'm not anti-designer dog. We don't need them. Exactly.
Yeah, we don't need them because we have built a framework of dogs that need rescuing already.
Yeah, and they're adorable.
For our own wants and needs, humankind has. So let's just stop with the designer stuff and
look after,
clear up the mess we've already made in other breeds.
All right, Mel.
Yes.
We've got an awesome episode.
That's right. But today we have someone very exciting.
Should I tell them who it is or just wait till we get back? I'm going to make you wait.
Okay.
I'm going to make you wait. We'll talk to you soon. See you with the guest. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're back, Mel, and once again, we've got an extraordinary guest.
I know, right? Very exciting.
Can't wait to say g'day to Emily Robertson, and she is of Greyhound Protection League of New Zealand.
I know. We're in awe of this group and what's going on in New Zealand.
Well, they're leading the way, aren't they? They're
100%.
like one of the king dominoes that'll hopefully knock a few of the other ones down.
Yep.
Emily, she doesn't just jump into the advocacy space and get stuff done. She's also a greyhound mama.
Yes.
She's got 5 greyhounds. Luigi, who's 5. Niji, I think it is. Niji's 8. Carly is 7.5. And then the little mates, Billy and Tilly.
I love that.
Rhyming names. They're 5 as well. She's got a big heart and a big household.
100%.
Emily works as a lawyer, not in the greyhound sphere, but she just donates a bunch of her time on top of her busy life as a lawyer to advocacy, and has been a spokesperson for the Greyhound Protection League of New Zealand for over 10 years, even though she looks like she's about 17.
I know.
So she must have started
young
when she
looking.
was 7 or something. I think she got into it when she was 7. And she's with us now. Thanks, Emily, for being with us. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Get to talk to people like you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Emily. Thank you so much for joining us. We truly are in awe of what's happening in New Zealand and very jealous that you're doing what we want to do one day, really soon, hopefully.
Oh, it's only a matter of time.
Oh, I hope so.
It is a matter of time, Em. I jumped on your website, I think it was, and you had a timeline on there, and it went back to 8000 BC. And I did, I did notice a bunch of stuff has happened sort of since about 2013 was when the WHK Independent Welfare Review came through. So that's 13 years later. You've finally got the best result ever. I wanted to jump back, if I can, just to the beginning of Greyhound Protection League New Zealand. Can you give us a sense of how that began and the genesis of the movement?
Yeah, well, so the Greyhound Protection League formed a little bit before my time in greyhound advocacy. Really, there was just a kind of core group of concerned citizens. One of our founding members, Aaron Cross in particular, absolute legend that he is. He and some other folks who had adopted greyhounds were concerned about how greyhounds seem to have fallen through the cracks, as it were. New Zealand's kind of a nation of dog lovers, and we have always prided ourselves on being world leaders in animal welfare, yet here there were dogs of all things that our animal welfare laws were kind of failing. And he and a very small number of people banded together and thought, well, what can we do to bring this to the public's attention to kind of get some progress happening for the dogs? And it's been a long, long journey since then. And even though the people involved have fluctuated and changed over time, it's remained a core small group of us that have kind of pushed this message out to the public.
And how did you discover them and you immediately want to jump in the fight? What was your story in that regard?
Yeah, for me it started with a dog, as it usually does. So when I was 20, I wanted to get a dog and I was unfazed on what kind of dog. I just wanted a dog. I'd never seen a greyhound before. I knew nothing about greyhound racing, and my partner at the time, he really wanted a greyhound but couldn't get a dog at home. So since I wanted a dog and he really wanted a greyhound, I was like, okay, I guess I'll get a greyhound. And I had really no knowledge of greyhounds before that at all. And I'd had many other kinds of dogs. You know, we grew up on a farm. We had random kind of farm dogs and dump dogs and what have you. But yeah, greyhounds are quite unlike any other dog, and they really get you. But then from transitioning from adopting my first greyhound to advocacy, when I'd only had my dog Abby for about 4-ish months, she just broke her leg walking down the road.
Oh, no.
Which it was like quite shocking because, you know, your leg doesn't just break walking. And when I had gone to the vet, they were like, oh, it's probably going to be the dreaded osteo because, as I said, you don't just break your leg walking down the road.
Yeah.
Transpired that it wasn't actually osteo, and it was just severe microfracturing in her leg from racing.
Right.
Jeez, I don't know what's worse. Gosh.
Just evidence of how they wear them down.
Yeah, and that was a big kind of wake-up call for me, number one. Also, around the same time, I'd been volunteering for kind of the main greyhound rehoming group at the time, and they sent out this, and it's probably not still their policy, I'm not really too sure on that because I exited quite soon after, but they sent out their policy for representing them at events, and it had a do's and don'ts, and one of the things that it said was if you're asked by anyone about greyhound racing or they say anything negative about greyhound racing to you, then basically they said to deflect and say that the dogs were well looked after. And for me, I don't like being told what to think, and I certainly don't like being told what to say. So that kind of had my blinkers on, and it was after receiving that I was like, yeah, no, there's something more going on here. And that's how I connected with Aaron and the Greyhound Protection League. It was all in for me from there.
Right. And then, you know, you've been a part of them for the last 10 years or so. And now you're still a part of this movement and you're here and you're witnessing it. What, especially for us in WA who are hopefully on the precipice of such a thing, what do you think was the key element in terms of winning the fight and seeing a ban announced? What's your sense of what that might be?
I think you can't really narrow it down to one key. I think at a minimum there's 5.
Okay,
Excuse me while I give a bit of a TED talk, but I'd say number 1 would just be persistence. As you said, it's been over a decade for us of really quite hardcore campaigning. It's not something that happens overnight. And so persistence is really key. And there's a great quote, not sure who said it because it's highly contested apparently, but everyone knows it and it's still a good quote regardless of who said it. But it's first they ignore you and then they laugh at you and then they fight you and then you win. And it really was like that. For years, we weren't getting kind of any traction, any publicity. Then we were just getting a lot of ad hominem attacks about needing to get jobs and being kind of do-gooders and tree huggers. And then,
smoke doping
towards
hippies.
the end, yeah, that's the one. We got a lot of that. And then over time, we stopped being treated so much as like a joke, like a fringe case or an extremist. And actually, it was then that it get a bit more violent and gruesome in terms of like personal threats and stuff like that we were subject to. But we came out on top at the end, and it was because we put in that hard yards at the start and we were willing to get laughed at and ignored. If we didn't have that assistance, we wouldn't have achieved what we'd done. And it helps, obviously, being on the right side of the argument and having something worth fighting for.
Yeah, we cop a lot of that on this side is just those personal attacks around, even today on socials. I try and stay away, but this idea that you're in it for the money, you're making money off there, there's no money involved, fellas.
And it's, who's making the money here? Because it's certainly not us. And to me, obviously, when I'm analysing an argument, I tend to look at who's got a vested interest and who doesn't. And obviously, greyhound trainers have a vested interest in their industry continuing. We're making our stance because we truly believe in it, even when we've got no kickbacks. So I take that as weight when I'm personally considering, ethical positions on things.
Yeah, and I kind of do understand. In a sense, I understand why they get so vitriolic and so defensive and so aggressive, because we are threatening something that, for right or wrong, definitely wrong, something they value. We want to take away something that they value. And usually if you haven't got a leg to stand on, if you haven't got a cogent argument, you do resort to ad hominem, you do resort to these ridiculous positions.
That's because you've got nothing else, really.
Yeah. I think I diverted you. You mentioned that there was a few key factors that...
yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to allow you some time to come back to maybe what we've missed there.
Okay, so I think the first one I just discussed was persistence, and that's key. The second one is having really good support systems within your organisation. I think anyone that has done any kind of advocacy, especially on moral issues, will know how exhausting it is. You're often dealing with really confronting information and the vitriol from the industry and setbacks, and even like very long periods where you can't see tangible progress, and you get that advocate fatigue. And it was really key for us because we are such a small group, and it did really feel like a David and Goliath type situation. Was that we each, there were times where we needed a break, where you just needed to have a step back and regroup and focus on your own mental health.
Go out dancing, do you reckon, Em? Would you go to the pub and then go dancing till midnight? And...
karaoke. But like when there were times where you just did need to just take a step back for a minute, it's not giving up the fight, it's just giving the torch to somebody else for a little bit so that you can regroup and come back and be that support system for each other. So I think that for us, that was really important because we're all adults, and contrary to what the racing industry seem to think, we all actually have jobs and a lot going on in our lives. So being able to just have somebody else there that you know could continue the fight when you needed a break, I think that was really important.
Awesome.
And then I guess slightly similar to that would be number 3, which is having really good external support. So at the start, Greyhound Protection League, we were just the only ones really advocating in that space. And that was quite exhausting when it felt like you weren't really making that headway with the public. But towards the end, I guess, so like 2018 on, we started to get much broader public support, and the media for us played a huge role in bringing it to the public eye. For years, the media hadn't really been interested in what we had to say. I don't know if that was to do with them getting money from the industry or just us being seen as extremists. But we started to get some really good journalists on board, particularly this amazing investigative journalist, Michael Morrow, who really did start to bring all of these recurring issues to the public eye on 3 News when he worked there, and then later with the New Zealand Herald. He's the one that broke that story a couple of weeks ago about the flight to Australia. And then we also started getting a lot of support from other more broad-based and publicly known animal welfare organisations, so SAFE and the SPCA and Direct Animal Action. So that kind of helped people that were passionate about animals but may not have really known so much about greyhounds, help them be introduced to the issue, because a lot of people didn't even really know that it was still going on or what it involved. So having those big organisations, having the media bring that to the forefront, it really allowed Kiwis who, as I said, are dog lovers to actually think, what the hell, like, why is this still a thing in New Zealand? And that public engagement is how we started to see action. First we saw Chloe Swarbrick introduce a members bill to ban greyhound racing, which kind of increased publicity and increased the attention that it was getting in Parliament. And then we also saw the Robertson review that was initiated by the then Racing Minister Grant Robertson, and it was from there that we started to see a lot more kind of politicians talking about it and politicians caring about it, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's that real awareness, isn't it? Because so many people don't know. That's probably the biggest thing that we get speaking to the public, is that they don't even know that it happens 6 days a week here in Western Australia. They don't have any clue that it still occurs. Yeah,
well, like for me, I lived right around the corner from the greyhound racing track in Dunedin when it was still operating, and I still never even knew it existed until I got a greyhound. So it's hugely about public awareness.
Yeah.
And I guess like the final 2 factors which I think were key was, one, the industry themselves. They did themselves no favours. Their responses to the various reports, to public criticism, it was a bit of an own goal, really. The focus was always on ad hominem attacks rather than actually addressing the substance of the concerns that were raised. It's much easier for them to just say, I'll get a job, than actually address the concerns. And had they done that ultimately a lot sooner, we might have been having a really different conversation today. I mean, even in the minister's announcement about the ban on greyhound racing, he acknowledged that they had made changes, but they just hadn't done enough quickly enough to show that they took the dog's welfare seriously. I mean, report after report raised the same issues, and they were not addressed comprehensively, and they were not addressed well. So if they had focused more on that and less on just personal attacks, they might have still been having that social licence. I don't know. I guess it's difficult to know what impact.
Yeah, I think that somehow shows a kind of arrogance or just a safety that I think that they always thought that they would have in the government would always back them no matter what. So they didn't really need to take this seriously.
Yeah, and I think for them, like, it was a shock more than anything for the ban announcement to come from Winston Peters, who from their perspective had always been like on their side. Like Greyhounds as Pets, the rehoming group, that was started at Winston Peters' initiation. Like, he was their biggest supporter, and it's kind of, I guess, a bit gold from my perspective that he was the one that ultimately signed their death warrant. If you've lost your biggest supporter in Parliament, then that should speak volumes to you about how much you disappointed him. And I guess one of the final key factors for us in achieving this outcome was actually the dogs. So, like, kind of a great irony that the industry's push into rehoming, which was necessary for it to survive, because mass euthanasia is simply not acceptable in really any society. But in the long run, the rehoming actually helped to bring about the industry's demise. Because,
Hallelujah.
Most people prior to like the mid-2000s had never seen a greyhound. They're largely invisible outside of the racetrack.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to be detached from an issue when you've not actually encountered the victims of the issue involved. And as rehoming's expanded, suddenly you're seeing greyhounds out and about at cafes, pet shops, in the office. My dogs go to the office and they're a hit with clients. Because people could actually see these dogs, and they're not some distinct kind of athletes. They're dogs. They're goofy, they're affectionate, they're like any other pet, and people can't draw that distinction once they've experienced them themselves. So in the end, like, the greatest advocates for greyhounds were the greyhounds. Like, every dog that was adopted, that the owner took it out and it met new people, this has allowed people to see, hey, should we really be doing this anymore?
Yeah.
And they're the key. And like, the more people, over time, obviously, there's huge numbers of greyhounds that have to be rehomed everywhere that there's greyhound racing. The more people experience these dogs over time, which with every review, it's bringing it to the public spotlight, and people will say, oh, my colleague's got a greyhound. I can't imagine it going through all of that. It becomes so much harder to overcome.
And I think it's such poetic justice to me that the one thing this mob did to ensure their survival will be their death knell. I agree 100% that they're the best ambassadors for their cause that you could ever want. And it's just lovely. I get a bit of schadenfreude on the fact that the thing that they thought would keep them going is going to be the thing that stops them.
Because I don't know many people that rescue a greyhound then decide to start participating in watching greyhound racing.
No.
I mean, there are a few, but I think they're probably the outliers, and I guess, not to be rude, but possibly they don't really have much in the way of critical reasoning skills.
That's a very nice way of saying it.
I'm going to use that. Perhaps they are deficient in critical reasoning skills. That's going to be my new, slightly passive-aggressive way to call you a dumb.
Or they're friends of a family that races and they've taken on one of their dogs.
We're gonna have to wrap it up, Em.
Yeah,
I could talk for another hour or so, really. I just want to thank you so much for being one of those humans that are in the world and making such a difference to the creatures that we care about the most here at Free the Hounds.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
We'd love to have you back on, maybe, I don't know, see what post-greyhound racing New Zealand is like.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there is a process you've yet to go through, and that's going to have its own hurdles and challenges, so maybe we could learn something from that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What kind of party are you having?
We're all scattered throughout New Zealand. Oh. None of us live in the same city, but we've got plans. We're going to be meeting up in person somewhere.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's likely Auckland.
Suggestion for karaoke duet, Islands in the Stream.
Yes.
Kenny Rogers.
Oh, yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah, right.
I can get behind that,
right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Em.
Thanks for your time.
A delight.
Thank you so much. Take care, hey. And well done.
Thank you.
Well, Mel, just another extraordinary human being. She has been a part of a body of people who, through their advocacy and persistence and intelligence and willingness to tolerate tiny step after tiny step, has made the biggest step of all. And now in New Zealand, no more hounds will unnecessarily die, so people can chuck a bet on them.
Exactly.
Like
that's what it boils down to, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're awesome, Em. Thanks for your insights, and I think we can take a fair bit from it.
100%, yeah. And I think one thing that she said really has stuck with me is who has the vested interest.
Right.
And I've got to remember that.
Yeah. Whenever the other mob attack us, as they do often, about you mob or activists will jump from one cause to the next, or you're making money out of this, or whatever it is, No, I can't be more unequivocal about this. In fact, it drains your resources. It drains your emotional resources. It drains your time resources. You have to advocate and fight and build any kind of financial resources just to continue the fight. And we all have full-time jobs. They're all hard-working people. So just stop this bullshit. And on the other side of the equation, you reckon these dogs love to race, as you put it, then you raise your own money, right? Form your own little private club. If you really care about the purpose of breed, then go do it. But you won't make any cash off it. You'll just have to put your own resources. What percentage would still go, yeah, no, I just want to make sure they get to do what they love?
I don't think a one in WA.
It wouldn't be a single one of you. You're in it for the cash and the gambling. Just admit it, then we can have a fair conversation. You're in it for the cash, you're in it for the gambling, and you'll tolerate the deaths because it's part of the game. If I'm wrong, come and say g'day to me on the podcast. There's an open invitation. Come in. I'll be much more respectful to you than I am to Mel and Jem. I'll give you that. All right? So come and say g'day.
Absolutely, because it's the only way that we learn from each other.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. We've got a really good one. Yeah,
Definitely.
Good one coming up next. So please stay informed, stay listening, educating yourselves, and we might have a half a chance of releasing the hounds.